About 3 years ago, I became a chronic secret keeper. The secret started with the change. I'm not talking about the typical midlife changes that happen to most middle-aged women. Things like hot flashes, sleep disruption, weight gain, and lizard-like skin. No, these things were minor nuisances compared to the changes I'd experienced. I know what you're thinking. Perimenopausal symptoms were not minor nuisances. But in my case, everything was relative. And don't get me wrong, there were worse fates than mine. But meeting the ghost of my ex-husband's murdered, contemptible, swindling mistress was catastrophic. For all three of us, I suppose, considering the encounter resulted in the end of my marriage and set my life on a course I couldn't have seen coming even with the advantage of the Hubble Space Telescope. And as if ghosts with their own agendas weren't enough of a disruption, I then met Brielle, my twin, who lived in a parallel universe. It took more than a moment to wrap my head around that concept. She was invisible to everyone else, with a few exceptions. It was the exceptions that caused the most trouble for me. Anyway, those two events are why I started keeping secrets. Although I hadn't kept them from Toni Miller, my best friend, Chief Baker, and the other half of the Murder Gals. We'd been given this moniker by the Bookend Bay Bugle, our local newspaper. That's what happens when amateurs solve a few murders. Back to the secrets. Toni was keeping a real doozy of a secret, and had been for 7 months. My every attempt to wheedle it out of her had flopped. Now it was 5 a.m., and we were at break time, my cafe. Toni was in charge of the baking, making raspberry white chocolate scones for the morning crowd, mostly locals, since it was early February in Upper Michigan. I opened the pantry door, unfastened the 50-pound bag of flour, then used the scoop to fill the plastic bin where we kept a more manageable quantity close to the work surfaces. "So, today's the day," I said to Toni as I set the bin back into the baking drawer. "Are you excited?" She shook her head and added cane sugar to the giant stainless steel bowl. "Excited isn't the word. Queasy better describes what I'm feeling today." Oh no, that wasn't promising. "You know I'm here for you to help with whatever's making you queasy, if you want to share." With one sharp gaze, she revealed her thoughts. Did she really need to explain, one more time, the reason she couldn't share? Sorry, never mind. I've waited this long. I can sit tight until tonight. I would wait, but it would be a special kind of torture for me. I've been blessed, or cursed depending on the situation, with a driving curiosity, greater than the average person's for sure. It was a challenge for me to leave puzzles and unanswered questions alone.